Network vulnerability assessment methodology. So we have a methodology here. We have phase 1, 2, and 3. So 1 is acquisition. Collect documents required to review laws and procedures related to network vulnerability assessment. So this is an assessment methodology, right? So this is how to conduct an assessment. So we're going to collect documents required to review laws and procedures for this organization. Maybe they're susceptible or required to adhere to PCI, you know, this kind of thing. So they need to follow these rules, which means you as the tester or assessor or someone on your team needs to understand those laws and regulations, for example, PCI. And then you want to identify and review documents related to network security. You want to review the list of previously discovered vulnerabilities. What was found before? Did they fix it? Is it back? That's acquisition. And then we move on to phase 2, identification. So we want to conduct interviews with customers and employees. Good luck, no one will let you do this. Involved in system architecture, design, and administration. So rarely will you have a chance to do that. Maybe on the phone with the guy that you're talking to, maybe you can get some of this information. You want to gather technical information about all network components. Again, you're going to do that electronically. You're going to do discovery, scanning, that kind of thing. You want to identify different industry standards which network security systems comply to. So what industry standards are they trying to adhere to? And then you want to test against that as well. Find out what they missed. And then phase 3, analyzing. You want to review the interviews, analyze the results of previous vulnerability assessments, analyze security vulnerabilities and identify risks, perform threat and risk analysis, analyze the effectiveness of existing security controls. In other words, we found a vulnerability, there is an exploit for it. Were we able to successfully launch that exploit, or did something take care of it? That's what they're getting at here. And then analyze the effectiveness of existing security policies. Are they following their policies? Did they react accordingly? They saw my scans, what did they do? Phase 4, evaluation. Determine the probability of exploitation of identified vulnerabilities. So you need to figure out how they want to consume that. What calculation models are they using, that kind of thing. Or you're going to need to create one for them. Identify the gaps in existing and required security measures. So are there gaps? You want to do the gap assessment, right? And then determine the controls required to mitigate identified vulnerabilities. So you've got some vulnerabilities. What do they need to do to prevent it? What's the cheapest thing, the least path of least resistance they need to follow to get that thing remedied? And then you want to identify upgrades required to the network vulnerability assessment process. So what do they need to do to prevent some of this stuff in the future, right? That's what they're getting at there. And then phase 5, generating reports. The results of analysis must be presented in a draft report to be evaluated for further variations. The report should contain tasks rendered by each team member, method used, and findings. They're going to want proof of this, and you need to keep proof of this, because if you're the one doing this and the network is breached at the same time, they're going to blame you. So you better have a CYA in place of everything you did so that you can say, hey, that wasn't me. Here's the screenshots of the machines I was in. This is what I was doing at that time. Now, but they're going to be very suspicious of you, so you better be able to back up what you did. Don't go, oh yeah, that wasn't me, and don't have any screenshots or anything like that. They're not going to believe you. That's happened to people that I know. So terms and their definitions, if something's not an industry standard term for those people, like IT for example, then you need to put it in your book. Make sure you define all the stuff that you're discussing. Make sure it's clear so that there's no ambiguities. Everything's clearly understood, clearly defined. Information collected from all of the phases. This is very important. You have to include all of that in the report. They're going to want to see this. For 2 reasons. One, we're CYAing, right? Cover your butt. And then the other thing is so that they know you did the work. What if this guy, I just paid him a whole bunch of money to scan my network, but he didn't do anything. He never stepped foot in my place. This guy is in China. How do I know he did this work? Well, here's the work he did. And then all documents must be stored in a central database for generating the final report. So you want to have all of your information in one place, which is incredibly important because it needs to be encrypted. This is very sensitive information. Treat it accordingly. If you've never worked with classified data, This is it. Treat it like classified data. It's very, very sensitive. Store it encrypted. Keep it password protected. Don't leave the repo open unless you're actively using it because the keys are in memory. So people can steal this stuff. You don't have millions of dollars of protection on your network. So make sure you keep this data safe. If there's a problem and this is leaked, it'll be bad news for you.